Okay, so previously we were live on Facebook as we are doing this Eventbrite seminar. You've got questions, we've got answers. Specifically, you've got real estate and land title questions, we've got answers. So I want to make sure that everybody can hear me as I am on the live for YouTube, and I'm also on the live for on the live for, well, we're not on the live for Facebook right now. Okay. Okay. So we're just doing the live for YouTube. We switched from Facebook to YouTube. I don't know who was here previously, but previously in the chat, we included the names of some lenders, names of lenders who finance land only. So by a show of hands, let me see those who were involved, who were here before, and who got those. Okay. Okay. If there's anybody who didn't get those, get that list, didn't get the questions, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you. If you look in the chat, you'll see a summary that's there. There's a summary in the chat, a recap of everything that we talked about before. Okay. And inside of that chat, there's also a list of those lenders that specify in loaning land. That's what you want. You want people who are going to loan money to purchase land. All right. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the next segment. If you've got real estate and land title questions, I've got your answers. All right. So one of the things that we talked about, we would discuss, there was a question of what are the credit qualifications for land loans. I had a particular viewer. I don't know if Udine may not be on this particular, Udine may not be on this particular recording. She may not be here. I don't see her. Udine, if you're here, let me know you're here. I'm not seeing you. So Udine had asked a question about, she's a new land investor, and she wanted to find out about how, what you do to get started. Well, one of the first things you want to do, if you're not gonna pay cash for the land, you want to know if you qualify, as far as the credit criteria is concerned. So that's what we're going to talk about now. And we're going to put that information in the chat so you can refer back to it. But you've got several references. One, if you're logged into the Zoom, the Eventbrite registration will allow you to get the digital download of all of this information that we're sharing. So it'll come across like a little digital booklet, but it'll also have the hyperlinks in it for all of the, like for Farmer Mac, for the requirements for USDA, for other things like that. That'll be in there. If you want your lender to maybe get approved with Farmer Mac to start doing land loans, that link will be in there. The list of all the lenders that we named in the chat that specify or specialize in land loans, that's going to be in there too. So that's for everybody that's registered. If you're not registered and you're getting it through the live, thank you for joining us. The issue is that you won't get the privilege of the list of lenders, specific lenders that specialize in land loans. You won't be able to get the different links that we have to the different companies and the resource information that's going to be available to you to help you. But you will be able to get all of the other information. So I just want to tell you, thank you if you're just on the live. But if you want to register, you can look in my YouTube feed, and you'll see there the registration for anyone that's interested in registering for the Eventbrite. It'll be there, and you can click on the QR code and you can register. If you just want to go directly to Eventbrite, the name of the event is You've Got Real Estate and Land Title Questions, I've Got answers. And you'll find there on Eventbrite in a virtual event that you can click there and register. All right, so here we go. What are the credit qualifying criteria for land loans? Okay. So specifically, what we're looking at is credit scores. That's the first thing. They require a minimum credit score of 640. That is if you're going through Farmer Mac. Now, if you're going through USDA, I think it's a little less than that. But if you're going to be going through Farmer Mac or any Farmer Mac lenders that we may have listed, then you want to make sure that you look at that list of lenders that we have there, that we put in there, and those list of lenders will show you, yeah, they'll show you ways that you can benefit from their particular lending criteria. Here we go. Farmer Mac lenders require a credit score of at least 640. The debt to income ratio is 41% or less. The loan to value that they'll loan on the appraised value of the land is up to 80%. So that's going to require a down payment of 20 to 30%. They will allow owner financing. So if you want to pay, if you have a certain amount of the down payment, but you don't have all of it, and your seller is willing to finance a balance of it, these particular lenders will allow secondary they'll allow the lender to take back a mortgage to help you supplement the difference between the amount that they're loaning versus the amount of the purchase price of the property. So they're going to be loaning up to 80% of the value of the land, not necessarily the contract, which normally in conventional lending is going to be 80, 90%, 95%, 97% of the sales contract, the sales price. This is 80% of the value of the land. And of course, there are various ways that you can benefit from that. So land loans are distinct for traditional mortgages due to their unique nature. They're distinct. They're different from traditional loans. We talked about that earlier. First of all, there's a larger area of associated risk when you're dealing with just land loans. That's why you don't find a large variation of lenders that are conventional lenders that are willing to loan on just land. So here you'll find that there are variation of lenders that are interested in loaning on just land. Let's talk about it. You've just heard the criteria, okay? You've looked in the chat and you've seen where I've listed the lenders that are available to you. And the chat that I'm talking about is the chat that's in the Eventbrite registration. The chat that's in the Eventbrite registration. If you registered for this Eventbrite event and seminar, then you're going to have access to all of the lenders' names that we have placed in the chat. If you're not registered, let's see, I want to help you, but I don't know how to help you or make that information privy to you if you haven't actually registered for the Eventbrite. I think maybe you can possibly get it. You may be able to get it if you're in the YouTube live. But for the most part, that information, all of this specific information is going to be privy to those who actually registered for the event. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. Borrowers securing land loans involve meeting specific credit qualifying criteria that reflects their financial stability and ability to repay the loan. You know this. Some of these criteria include credit score, debt to income ratio, loan to value, and down payment requirements. Let's get more into the credit score. So one of the primary indicators of a borrower's credit worthiness is through their credit score. The lender typically requires a minimum of score of 640. And that's if you're going with a lender that's approved by Freddie Mac. That's going to be some more, excuse me, not Freddie Mac, Farmer Mac. That's going to be supported by Farmer Mac. So let's say you have a score that's a little less than that. credit cards like Capital One, these are credit builders. You can get a Capital One card, you can get a Credit One card, and you can secure the card, just pay the monthly payment and keep your balance extremely low, almost next to nothing. And that will immediately add points to your credit score. You can go to banks like Synovus. They have like a flex account, a flex savings account that you can open, and you can pick amounts like $2,500 or more. The more that you decide that you want to save, the more points that you can accumulate in terms of credit score. And so you can open up one of those accounts and you can decide that you want to save $2,500. And so they will deduct from your deposits a certain percentage each time that you deposit until you've gotten up to the amount that you want to save. Well, each time you do that, you're creating a credit credential, so to speak, which increases your credit rating and raises the points in your credit rating. Those are just specific ways that you can do. They're not high risk. We're not talking about these predators that are out here talking about they're helping you to build credit. These are significant ways that you can build credit in a credible way that's very quick. So if you're trying to get to that 640 and you're not there yet, those are some very easy ways to get that done. All right, so the higher the credit score, not only will it increase the likelihood of you getting the loan approval, but you'll get a more favorable interest rate. That's with any type of loan, traditional or with these loans that are specific to landowners. Borrowers with excellent credit can, of course, be involved in lower risk. The difference between traditional loans and these lenders who are willing to loan to land loans, they want to encourage the increase in agricultural property. So they are willing to set up specific programs that are for you. You'd be surprised. Some of them are willing to make a higher risk loan. So maybe your rating is not 640. They're willing to make a higher risk loan for a shorter period of time so that you will be mandated to refinance after a certain period of time. Well, see, that gets you into the door of owning the land, getting your subdivision done, subdividing the land, go ahead and setting up certain lease with companies that are willing to lease the land from you and provide you non-performance income. So now you're increasing your leverage in terms of being able to qualify. So a lot of them, even though their credit criteria is 640, that's the minimum, sometimes they're willing to go with you at a lower credit score because they have a way to help you reduce the risk. That's one of the ideas. So when we talk about the debt to income ratio, what we're looking at is the percentage of your income that will be applied to all of your bills, including the taxes and insurance and the mortgage payment. So the ratio compares the borrower's monthly debt payments to their gross monthly income. And that will provide an overall insight of your financial health. So a lower debt to income ratio would indicate that maybe the borrower has more of a way to manage their income versus their debt, which reduces the risk to the lender. Now, I can tell you they're more apt to loan to you if your rating is a little bit lower than what they require than they are to loan to you if your debt to income ratio is higher. So they don't want it to be any higher than 41%. They don't want any more than 41% of your gross income to be applied towards any debts that you currently have or any debts that you would assume in purchasing the property. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your proposed house note, your proposed hazard insurance premium, your proposed property taxes, as well as your current debt, that doesn't need to exceed your monthly debt. 41% of your gross income. Now, if it's lower, that increases. So let's say your debt to income ratio was only 35%. Well, their max is 41%, but you're at 35%. So only 35% of your income, including the proposed house note, is going to be applied towards your your debts. Okay. Only 35% of your gross income. But your credit rating is a little less than 640. That gives you leverage, and they're more apt to loan to you. Now, we're not talking about conventional or traditional lenders. I'm talking to you about the list of lenders that I put in the chat, people who specify in land loans. They extend credit to individuals that want to purchase land. Farmer Mac is an entity that supports these lenders because they want to increase the amount of landowners in agriculture and other rural property communities. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping that you understand what I'm saying. I'm going to pause for a second and check to see if I've got anybody's. Yeah. Okay. I see your hand. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that with that list of lenders that you have, you can reach out to them and they'll set up a consultation with you to let you know where you stand as far as pre-qualification for buying land. Or if you already own land, it's probably more than likely that you'll be able to refinance based on their criteria for equity. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And as always, I'm here to help you. I can help you in the form of a consultant, or I can assist you as your buyer's agent. I can serve you in either capacity. Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for your patience. Just remember, I've got people in the live YouTube, and I've also got folks on this Zoom that we're doing. And so in the Zoom that we're doing, if you have any questions, you can ask any questions that you need to ask, and we'll make them available to you. All right, so let's go on. Here we go. Loan to value ratio. All right. The loan to value ratio is measured by the value of the land versus the amount of loan that you want to get. So I guess specifically, let's look at this. Let's say the land is valued at $100,000. We'll use something that's rounded. Okay. And the loan amount is $70,000. That's a 70% loan. It's based on 70% of your land value. Now, on traditional loans, when you're purchasing land, it's based on a certain percentage of the sales price of the loan amount. So the loan amount, so let's say your sales price is $100,000. Then they're going to loan based on the sales price. Here, when you're dealing with purchasing land only, unimproved, then it's going to be based, if you go through one of these lenders, we're talking about non-traditional lenders that loan specifically for the purchase of land or the refinancing of land. Okay. And these are lenders that are supported by Farmer Mac, which is an entity that supports lenders in loaning for land purchase or for refinancing of land. I'm hoping that that's clear. And why are we talking about land? Because I want to help you get in front of some things that are coming. Okay. Things that are coming, changes that are taking place. If you're following current events, you understand what some of these changes are. So if you want to get in a position where you're going to be self-sustainable to a certain point when it comes to vegetation, livestock, your sustenance, this is a good time to purchase land in rural areas and such for agricultural purposes, or really for multiple streams, rivers, oceans of revenue. And we've talked about how you can do that in the prior session. All right. So when you look at the loan to value, again, it's based on the appraised value of the land versus the loan amount that you want to get. And we said that a lot of these companies will loan up to 80%. That means if your land is $100,000, they'll loan you $80,000 of that property, and which is not bad. That's not bad at all. a $80,000 loan is not bad if that's what you're interested in. So we want to make sure that you guys understand all of that. And if you wait a minute, I have a question. There's a question. All right, hold on a second. There's a question. Let me follow that question and see what we're doing. Okay, apparently they're still typing. So maybe I should go on and come back to the question. Okay. I'll go on. Looks like they're still typing. I'll go on and come back to that. All right. Okay. Because see, what I have to also remain conscious of the people who are constantly watching. So I don't want to put them in a position where they're just kind of dangling out there waiting for me to move forward. Not that everybody that's on right now is very, very, very important. Very important. I value everybody that's on right now. I just want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, so looks like they're still typing. We'll go on. All right, down payment. So a significant down payment is often required for land loans, typically in the range of 20 to 30% down. So this is upfront payment. It demonstrates the borrower's commitment and ability to invest in the property. A larger down payment reduces the loan amount, thereby it's going to lower the loan to value, and it's going to reduce the lender's risk, which, okay, if you've got credit issues, income issues, this will more than likely increase the benefit of you being able to get approved for that land loan. Because again, when you're dealing with non-traditional lenders, they can compensate in certain areas where you're not as strong. They can compensate in those areas. So I'm hoping that is an assistance to you. So what I'm saying to you is that if you have more money to pay down on your property, you've got more money to pay down, then that means that in having more money to pay down, you make yourself more accessible to getting approved. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the next session. And I apologize if I seem preoccupied. I am actually preoccupied because I'm looking at 3 different screens, and I want to make sure that everybody is being serviced in the way that they need to, because this is a very important. This right here is providing you with information that you can use in various ways. You don't normally get specific information like this, especially if you're not actually doing business with a person. I am just offering you this information so that you can have it. And now I'm putting that loan criteria in the chat. You should have also had a list from earlier of a list of lenders. Those are in the chat. And the chat that I'm referring to is the chat from the registration through Eventbrite. You've got questions. We've got answers. All right. All right, here we go. We're on to the next section. Let me look at the schedule. Time is passing swiftly. Okay. All right, so let me just recap. I just want to make sure that qualifying for land loans necessitates strong credit profile, but they're willing to create a type of loan that is specific for your needs. So you may have to enter in at a high risk rate, but it's okay, because you can come back after the loan has been seasoned from 6 to 12 months and refinance it, either with them or another company. Pay that off and put yourself in a better financial position. But during that time, you've purchased the land, you've subdivided your land, you are now in a lease, a long-term lease with companies who wanted to lease portions of your land and provide you with non-performance income. So you've gone in and purchased the land, created an environment where you now have non-performance income coming in, and you are in a better position to refinance that land and get a better rate. The criteria collectively ensures that the borrower has the financial capability of repaying the loan. We know that against any potential defaults. So understanding and meeting the criteria can pave the way for successful land acquisition and investment, and understanding that you can utilize one strength to offset a weakness can also help you. Whereas when you're dealing with traditional lending to purchase residential property, that's not always a benefit. It's not always a benefit that's available to you. All right, here's another question that we got that came in. It says, how can one verify the legal status of their land? Okay, so I'm assuming that you're talking about who owns the land currently. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, all right. So one of the ways is reviewing the property's title history to ensure clear ownership. And this is something that you can do yourself. Depending on what state you're in, you can go into the clerk of court's office. If you're in the Carolinas, you can go into the Register of Deeds office. You can go into the clerk of superior court. If you're in Georgia, you can go into the judge of probate's office. If you're in Alabama, just depends on where you're located in the states. And you can go into that office where the mortgages and deeds are recorded, and you can check, after checking with the assessor's office, the deed that specifies the current owner's position and status in the property. You can go in the records room where the deeds are, and you can check that deed. And then you can check the index that's there, the reverse index, and see the history. And you can also check for encroachments on the property. Or pick me, pick me. Hello. You can go to your license, land title examiner, me. And of course, we can examine the title. You can go to your real estate attorney, and they can check the title for you as well. So that will let you know the status of the land. And also, it'll let you know if there are any liens against the property that will survive the deed. Okay. Also, you can check for any kind of encumbrances, any easements, any restrictions that are on the property that will hinder what you intend to purchase the property for. You want to check with zoning to ensure that the land is zoned appropriately for what your intended use in is. And so all of this is stuff that you can do yourself, or pick me. I can assist you with that. And if you don't, let's say you still don't want to pay the fee that it would require to hire me to do those things. Not a problem. I can walk you through what you need to walk through. And that's just a consultation fee to walk you through the records room, to have me on the phone while you're doing all of this self-serve. I have no problem with that at all. See, ultimately, what I want to do is help you become a landowner. I'm with National Land Realty. I'm a land professional. What we want to do is help you to become landowner. Once you become a landowner, we can service you. We can list your property when you're ready to sell it. We can service you in terms of helping you lease your property to different companies that are interested in leasing property for various reasons. I'll always be here to service you as a land professional. So either way, I'm able to help you. What steps should one take to get started with solar farming? Now, let me tell you something. This is really in depth. Don't know if we have enough time to cover all of this. How long have we been on here? How long have we been on here? Okay, not too long. So we should have time to be able to do this. Okay. Okay, I'm checking to make sure that we have enough time to get this to get this done, because that's a lot to try to cover. Maybe I won't go into all of the specifics as far as land farming is concerned. Let's just see what we got time to do here. Let me see. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm reading the notes to see here. If anybody has, I'm seeing a lot of inner conversation in the chat. Okay. I don't want to miss any. I want to cover everybody's question because you guys were kind enough to log on. And I want to make sure that we're respecting everything that you're looking for. Thank you for your patience for allowing me to do that. Really appreciate you. Okay. So going on to the next spot. So what we've talked about so far is I've given you a list of lenders, 9 lenders that specialize in loaning to people who want to purchase land or want to refinance land or want to expand their use of land. These lenders specialize in loaning for the land purchase. Now, why is it different from traditional lenders? Because traditional lenders loan money for you to purchase homes and residential property. Well, that's great. As long as you don't want to plant a garden that's going to be big enough, huge enough to cover your vegetation, to be self-sustaining. We're not just talking about a little bitty garden, but we're talking about moving into being self-sustaining. They're not going to allow you in that neighborhood to have certain livestock on your land. But if you purchase rural property, land in a rural property area, a rural community, or agricultural community, you'll be able to do that. The benefit is that you can have your house on that land. You can subdivide the land, as we've discussed previously, and be able to lease certain parts of your land to companies that are willing to pay you long-term lease, and you'll have non-performance income coming in on that land. At the same time, you have your residential home there on that land. You've subdivided it, so they're not going to be encroaching on the land where you have your home. And at the same time, you've got non-performance income coming in from various places as you've subdivided that land. It's a wonderful opportunity. And that's not something that you can do in a residential area. So it may be something that you want to consider. All right. Going on to the next question. What are the steps that we should take to get started with solar farming and own lease land? Before I go with this, let me know in the chat if you have not received a lot of the links that we've shared. So I've shared the links whereby you can reach out to Farmer Mac, and Farmer Mac can give you an even larger list of lenders that are there. I've shared the link that you may want to share with your lender that you're accustomed to doing business with that may not be approved with Farmer Mac, and you want to get them on the list of their approved lenders so they can start doing land loans. I put that in the link. Okay, I put the criteria for qualifying for these type loans, specifically with lenders that are approved with Farmer Mac, in the link. So I'm hoping that you have all of those. If you don't have one of those things, in the chat, if you don't have one of those links in the chat, you can actually unmute and speak out. Just in case I'm presenting and I'm not seeing your hand in the chat, just unmute and speak out. I have it set up so you can unmute your mic and you can actually speak out. No problem with that at all. And I don't think anybody else that's attending will mind if you do that, just to let me know that you're missing something, because that's the whole purpose of you registering. You registered so that you could get all of this specific information and not just general information. All right. So what steps should one take to get started with solar farming? So do you guys even know about the solar farming? Okay, let me see your hand if you don't know about solar farming, because every week we've been doing these seminars on Sundays where we, take about 30 minutes to talk about how you can monetize your land or what it takes to purchase land. Okay, so all of those are free and all of those don't require registration, and you can get specific general information. So we talked about in one of those recordings about solar farming. Okay, so I don't see anybody's hand. That means you know what solar farming is. Okay, so I don't have to go and explain what solar farming is. I can go right into helping you understand how you can get involved in it. Okay, So what you want to do is understand, firstly, the benefits of solar farming. Because if you understand the benefits, then you'll understand how you need to research to make sure that you've got the proper permits that will be required. It depends on how you want to benefit from solar farming. So you can either want to do the solar farming yourself, where you set up panels, solar panels on your land, and you sell that energy that you're harnessing to particular communities. A lot of communities, especially in rural areas, will buy that solar energy that you harness on your solar farm. Okay. Some communities will actually buy the equipment and pay for the maintenance to set it up on your land. And then they'll buy the energy from you that you're harnessing on your land. Or there are companies that will lease a portion of your land for the purpose of being able to now farm that land. Okay. So yeah. Okay. All right. So that will help you understand how you need to get the various permits that will be required. So understand the benefits and the requirements that you're going to need in terms of zoning and permits for solar farming. Secondly, you want to identify any potential lease. So you're looking for landowners that will be willing to lease their land for solar projects. So let's say you want to do solar farming, but you don't own any land. You can still do solar farming because you can find landowners that are willing to lease their a particular portion of their land for solar farming. Oh, so you want to know how you find out landowners? Pick me. National Land Realty has the largest reservoir or listings of landowners who have their property available for lease or for sale for specific purposes. We get close to 100,000 visits to our website every few days. So it's a large reservoir of individuals that are coming to our website, and we have, I'm not kidding you, we have so many listings because we're a national company. So I mean, it's just a reservoir of listings. I mean, it's innumerable because there's so many listings of landowners. So you want to bear that in mind. But yeah, even if you don't own land, you can actually reach out to landowners who will be willing to lease their land to you for the purpose of solar farming. You want to make sure that you are negotiating your lease agreements so that you're including the duration, you're including the payment, you're including the maintenance responsibilities that are involved. You want to cover all of that because otherwise it can come back to bite you in the So also securing financing, obtaining financing for solar farming projects, either through loans or through grants. And of course, that link that I provided to you for Farmer Mac in the chat will also get you to those particular grants that are available for people who are willing to do solar farming. Whether you own the land or you want to lease somebody else's land in order to do so, you can do that because there's provisions for it. And lastly, installing the solar panels. So there is, if you want to install and commission the solar panels to begin generating energy, you want to make sure that you take those steps of researching who can do that for you or who's willing to pay for that, because there are some grants or some loans that will provide for that you can get through some of these Farmer Mac approved lenders. Hey, we're about coming to the time when we're going to have to stop, convert all of this into a video that will assist you guys, and then we will move on to the very next module that we'll be doing. I want to tell y'all, I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying the feedback. I'm enjoying the communication, and I'm really appreciating you guys for just allowing me to present to you in this way. I want to appreciate you guys publicly that registered. I'm really grateful to everybody who registered. And I'm checking now, going through here to make sure that there's not somebody else trying to get in. And because I closed it out per session so that we're not, because there's a notification sound that you'll hear every time someone tries to come in. And so I closed it out so that sound wouldn't interrupt us. So I'm just checking to make sure that nobody else is looking to have access. and somehow being prevented. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. So we're going on to, oh, wait a minute. You know what? Let's do this real quick. Remember, we said at the beginning, at the very head of the seminar, that we were going to play a game, And in that game, we were going to, each time I went out and I downloaded the recording and I came back, I was going to have on different attire. And your job was to tell me what I had on different. And for the one that named all of the things, or so many of the things, the most things that were different about my attire, you would be entitled to a prize. One of them was a cash prize, and one of them was consultation. One was some free booklets that will help you with this. Also free consultation with some of the lenders. So, all right, look at me. You see what I have on? Okay. What's different about what I have on now versus what I had on when we started in the beginning at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock? What's different now that I have on in my attire that's well, it's not the same as what I had on before. Go ahead and start putting that in the chat, and we'll come back and review that after we finish this. Whoever has the most answers correct in terms of the things that I have on differently versus on what I had on before will be the one that will be entitled to the prizes, that one of the prizes that we have available. Okay. One of the other questions that we got from our viewers of previous seminars is that they want to know the legal considerations that should be taken into account when leasing land. Oh, wow. So I'm assuming this is for someone who either wants to lease their land to someone or they want to lease land for specific reasons. So let's see what we got here. Guys, you have to pardon me. You know, I love my tea. I'm about to take a sip of tea. Nothing like it. Okay. So firstly, you want to ensure a clear, comprehensive lease agreement is in place. And that means that you've got to have every things that you think are just common sense and common knowledge and that shouldn't be required to be mentioned, you want to put it in that lease. Because chances are, if a company is leasing the land from you, they have attorneys that are preparing their lease. You need to have an attorney that's going to review yours, or a licensed professional that's going to review all of the contents, because you're not just talking about the parameters of the lease for now, but if it's a long-term lease, you could be looking at 10, 15, 20 years. You want to make sure that you're covering all of the possibilities, considering all of the considerations that will evolve over the years. Things that may affect the intended use of the land. And what you're looking to do is cover yourself. Cover yourself, huh? So you want to make sure that the lease is comprehensive, and you can prepare it yourself and then reach out to me. I'll be happy to consult. There's a fee that nominal fee that you would be charged, but it would be very effective for you to do that. Go ahead and prepare it. Reach out to me. I can tell you some modifications that you can make. I can provide certain documents that are available that can be used without having an agent involved. There are some documents that are used that can only be used if there's a licensed agent involved. But there are other documents, specific documents, that can be used without a licensed agent. And I can also give you consultation with those documents to make sure that you've got everything included. So the question was, what legal considerations should be taken into account when leasing land? The first one is making sure that lease agreement is clear, is concise, is considering the long term of the lease, the intended purpose of the lease, and making sure that you cover any considerations that could possibly arise, and leaving room for those things that you're not aware of that could possibly arise, and protecting yourself. Zoning and land use and regulations. You want to verify the land use and verify that it complies with the zoning laws. So you might have laws in the state that differ from the local municipality. You want to go down to that zoning office and you want to verify. Or if you're unable to go, pick me. All of these things are what we provide and what we assist you with as land professionals. It's a reason why you want to incorporate our assistance whenever you're reaching out to or venturing out to do these things. Also, environmental regulations. So you want to adhere to any environmental regulations that your intended purpose may conflict, so that you may need to obtain necessary permits for certain intentions for the land. Yeah. Yeah. Now I am in favor of people who want to purchase land right now. It's really, really important that you purchase land. I'm not going to get into certain political things. I'm just going to say to you, this is a very important time to become independent as far as your sustenance is concerned. Your ability to sustain vegetation, livestock, waterways, you want to get involved with that. You want to have water towers, things that you can do to help you sustain and help you to help your community. This is the time to get in front of that thing and start to open up into purchasing land. If you already own land, we're providing suggestions for you to create non-performance income with the land that you own. Even if you own family land, you can utilize these suggestions to create revenue that will be coming in from your land that will help you provide for yourself and set up things in the future. Also, a lot of people purchase land for agricultural reasons, but also for cannabis, for purposes of producing hemp. That's very popular these days. And with certain things taking place with the increased vibrational resonance of these type of radio waves that are increasing in our environment, it's increasing a certain amount of cellular agitation, which makes it almost relevant, very important, almost a necessity to have certain things that you use for anxiety and other things. And some people use cannabis for that purpose. And so being able to raise cannabis, grow cannabis, create an environment where you can grow it and you can produce certain oils and such is very advantageous now. And you've got certain lenders that will loan you money to purchase land just for that reason. Oh, it's very beneficial. So you want to look into it. All right. So lastly, what you want to do is make sure that you've got insurance, appropriate insurance coverage that will cover the property that you're leasing and the activity. So let's say, again, you don't own the land, but you want to lease land for some of these purposes that we've talked about to create non-performance income. You want to lease it for that reason. Okay. Well, you want to make sure that that land that you're leasing is insured, and there's land that there's insurance that you can purchase for that. Let's say you own the land, you're leasing it to someone else for non-performance income, but you want to cover yourself. There's certain insurance that you can purchase to protect your liability. Let's say something happens to their equipment while they're leasing your land and they want to blame it somehow on you. There is liability insurance that will cover you in such cases, and you can bill the premium that you're going to be paying for the insurance into the cost of their lease. Oh yeah, it's all kinds of ways to work this out. So you want to make sure that you have insurance to cover the leased property in the activities. Let's say you have a certain portion of your land that you have subdivided for outdoor events, and you've got people who want to host outdoor events on your land. You've got a certain land that you've portion of your land that you've subdivided for that, where you're going to want to have certain type of liability insurance for those people who will be attending those events. And once again, there's event insurance that you can bill into the cost that you'll be charging them to lease your land. I'm hoping that this information is beneficial to you guys. This looks like a good stopping point for me to pause and to download this information, convert it into a video before we move on to the next segment of our event. Let's see, let me check everything to make sure that there's not someone here that's speaking to me that I'm missing. Let's see. All right. Okay, let me see the show of hands of people who could use a break right now. Okay. Okay, that ratio is not too bad. Not too bad. It's not all y'all, but it's still a good ratio that we can take a moment. I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for all the people who registered. I want to tell you, thank you so much for registering. I'm hoping that the information that I'm providing for you, the links that I'm putting in the chat, are specific to what you need. If it's not, always feel free to put your questions in the chat. I've also put my email and my direct contact information in the chat. So if you want to present a question that you don't necessarily want to include in the chat, you can send me a message directly to my email at jbattle at land title jbattle at nationalland.com, jbattle at nationalland.com, jbattle at nationalland.com. So those are for questions that are specific to your needs and you don't necessarily want to put them in the public chat, which is understandable. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out the Zoom. I'm going to shut down the YouTube live. I'm going to download the recording from the Zoom. And I'm going to clip the digital information, the written digital information, create a little booklet for that, download all of that, create a link for you guys, and then we'll come back. Now, remember, I'll be coming back with something that's different in terms of my attire. I hope you can see me. Okay, you see everything? You see everything. Everything counts. Okay, everything counts. Okay, so I'll be coming in with something different on in terms of my attire. And and the person that lists the number of things that are different, the highest number of things that are different, will be the person that wins the prize in this next segment. Thank you guys for signing in. I'll see you